Falcon and Winter Soldier series finale titled One World, One People has just premiered on Disney+. That's what I'm going to be reviewing in today's video, as well as sharing my thoughts on the series overall. But before we get into that, I've got to tell you one thing. Marvel Studios have got me, of all people, to admit they've gone woke. What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to Second Street. Smash that like button like John Walker was getting smashed by those flag smashers. Now, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series finale is here. That's what I'm going to be talking about today, doing a spoiler review and sharing my thoughts on this series overall. And I've got to say, like I said at the very beginning, Marvel Studios finally did it. They finally got me to the point to admit where they've gone woke. And you know, there's been signs and stuff out there, but here, I will admit fully here, they did it only because they got preachy. But we'll get a little bit more into that here by the end of this video. Again, let me know all your thoughts about the series finale. Don't be afraid to go into spoilers and everything down in the comments. It's okay, do it, because if you're watching this video, we're doing spoilers. All right, so get over it. So the series finale is finally here. It's episode 6. It was, God, what was, it was under an hour. I mean, 50 some minutes, and it seemed like a pretty long 50 minutes. These last two episodes have really seemed, for what was in them, seemed really long. Now we can see how just especially in these last two episodes, especially, it was like, the first couple of episodes, it wasn't there so much because it was really kind of set up of what's going on. And then episode 3 and 4, by the time you get to 5 and 6 here, it's like you can really tell how disjointed everything is here, just from the reshoots, the edits, and everything that they done last year. It's you know what? It's not good. It's not good. We'll just go ahead and leave it at that. And we see more of that, more evidence of that here throughout this episode. The episode starts off with New York. They're in New York, where they've got the GRC who is getting ready to come do their voting, and the flag smashers were wanting to stop them. And they've pretty much got the whole city and area on lockdown as they are looking for the flag smashers, who have already made threats and everything to the GRC to stop the vote. And then we finally see Falcon. Captain America flying in his new suit. And I gotta tell you, you know what? He looks great. He really does look great. Throughout this series, Sam has had a journey that I think has been really good. They've done some really great things with this character. This character started off in the MCU as not even a sidekick, but a side character. Was always there backing up Captain America, always on his side and stuff like that. And naturally, like in the comics, it happened where he was going to step into the role of Captain America, and that is something that I've said from the very start here, that I felt they were going to go that route. This series was going to be basically Falcon coming into his own, becoming the Falcon, becoming his own man. But at the end of the series, he would be taking on the mantle of Captain America. And a lot of the reasons for that is because his character arc throughout this story throughout this series has been very good, just in what we finally got to see of Sam Wilson. But it's really no different than what he was already doing in the first place in this series as well, where we seen that he was doing the thing with he was leading the therapy sessions and everything like that for the veterans out of the veterans place, that he was doing all of that when we first met him, all of those kinds of things. So he was really like a leader in his own way in the first place, in a smaller role, doing his own thing. And so his character arc here really isn't that much throughout this series, because he was already doing that and serving that purpose within the confines of the MCU and what we've known this character anyway. He's kind of always been his own man, doing his own thing, like I just said, what he was doing there. But then he kind of started, palling around with Captain America and became kind of that side character. Like I said, I don't really feel he was ever a sidekick, but a side character that was just kind of there along with the ride, and just, like I said, maybe like a sidekick to Captain America, but he was still always kind of his own man. He just felt a lot of the same way and believed in Steve Rogers and Captain America. So naturally, it was something that he was going to do. And again, like I said, they did it in the comic books, right? Anyway, so as far as that, we see him flying in here. In on this scene as everything's going into lockdown. We finally see, and again, he looks great. He looks great in the suit. The suit looks great. I mean, honestly, it looks just like the comics, but a little bit different. But it was very good. It was very cool seeing him come into the scene when he first goes into the GRC building, smashing into it, seeing him land and do his whole thing. All of that stuff was really great. Really great action scenes there with a lot of these individual characters in a lot of these different things. What they did with Sam Wilson when he was flying with the helicopter and all of that stuff too. Really, just pretty good, well shot action scenes. Could there have been more to it? Yeah. Absolutely, we could have used a lot more of that throughout the series. Again, the Sam Wilson, the suit, it looks cool. Everything they're doing right here is cool. But then we get there, we see Bucky and Sharon, and we see Sharon comes up with the, she's got the face morph thing on, and she's there, and all of a sudden, she's worried about being extradited from to America to stand, to be, convicted of her crimes and everything. And then, don't worry, nobody's looking for me here. What? All right. Maybe they're not on high alert because they're like, this lady's been gone for a while. We don't know where she's at. And so, I don't know, some of that stuff there, I mean, like, look, we know by the time you get to the end of this episode, this series, they're playing hard. They're playing so hard at wanting you to think that she's the power broker, that she is a scroll, right? And that's why I've just got to say, still here to me, it feels so sloppy because they're trying to put it so on the nose, making it so obvious that you're going to think that she is the power broker, that she is a scroll. I got to say, honestly, I mean, it's so on the nose, so obvious that they want you to think that I cannot believe that. I don't believe that. Is she maybe playing along with the power broker here? Yeah, maybe. Is she working with the power broker? Yeah, maybe. Is she a scroll? I just don't think so. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments, because we're going to talk a little bit more about that by the time we get here to the end of the video as well. So we see that Bucky is there as well. They meet up, they kind of talk a little bit, and then they go into the GRC building and start to, we can see everything's, the bombs have gone off that the Batroc there took there to the Flag Smashers, and everything is kind of going along as planned, I guess you could say. And you see him in there kind of infiltrating, and again, we get a phone call from Carly to Bucky, and he's sitting there talking. Like Bucky's got some pretty good lines. I think he had a really good one-liner in there. But again, we're time stalling, talking on the phone. We're supposed to be in an action sequence, supposed to be saving people. Like, and Sharon even called him out, like, you had one job, but come on, like, all right, like, we get it. And I want to give shouts out to my man Black Angus from Black Angus Reviews. I noticed that they got him in here playing one of the Flag Smashers, and as they were going in through the GRC building. He's been throughout the series, but like it was him. I see you out there, Black Angus. I see you, man. You're getting some roles. Anyway. We see that they're infiltrating as the Flag Smashers are trying to get the main senators and everybody who were going to do the vote for the GRC. They were getting them in these secure vehicles to take them out, but the Flag Smashers were actually there to take control of the vehicles and get these people, because these are the people that they wanted to kill to prove their point, right? To prove their point, because that's what you do, you go kill them, and people will just be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna go along. We're like, okay, you got us. I don't know. It's all a little weird, but there's a little bit more to that. So we see the Flag Smashers, they're there doing their thing, and then in comes John Walker, Carly, or what does he say, Morgenthau. And it was very good. And here's the thing with the John Walker character. I like this character. I'm not saying like he's a good guy or he's great or anything like that, but his character is freaking great throughout this series. Wyatt Russell, what he's doing with this character has been freaking fantabulous. I love it. I love everything he's doing there. I'm telling you, especially in that last episode and then here, so much. He's really starting to remind me of Kurt Russell, man, his father. Like, there's just some stuff in here. I'm like, dude, like, He's got it, man. He's got it, man. He really showed some chops here in this role. And I haven't seen a whole lot of other stuff with him. I've seen him in a couple of movies, and I would never say that he was terrible or anything like that. I just haven't seen enough of his work to say how great he is. But seeing what he's done here within the confines of this character and in this series, and what limited time we've had with him on screen, has been absolutely great. I cannot wait to see more of this character in the MCU. It's going to be absolutely great. Gonna love it. Gonna love it. So we see that, he goes up there, he's got his shield that he made. And again, this is something that I think is very, I was talking about the shield in the last review, and just kind of overall throughout these series, where the shield is very symbolic. And what we seen him do at the very end of episode 4 was, it was covered in blood. It's been it's no longer a good symbol. It's been tarnished and all this stuff. We need to retire the shield. I mean, you know who you people sound like? You sound like the people from the comic books. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you see that it's symbolic in the fact that you see he's got his shield that he made there. And it looks like the shield. I mean, it looks okay. But he goes there, and what's the first thing that happens when he uses it? He throws it, and hey, that shield, your shield doesn't follow the laws of physics, does it? You can see this shield absolutely does. He throws it, Carly kicks it, it just lands, and you see him kind of sitting there, and he's going, oh man, my shield. And that's exactly kind of the point. I think was the symbolic of it, was he throws it trying to use a shield, a real shield, as a weapon, like he did the Captain America shield, that vibranium shield in the episode 4 at the end of that. So you see again more symbolic kind of things here, where he then gets the shield back, and you can see at that point he knows that it's not going to work for him as a weapon. He starts to get jumped by the Flag Smashers, and he has to use it to shield himself. And you see later how beat the hell up it got. At no point was he able to use that shield as a weapon, because it's not vibranium, it's not the Captain America shield. So I think there was some very cool things done there with that, as far as making it be symbolic in that way, something I talked about before, where I don't really think the shield itself is tarnished. Again, it's something that is used to show that, even in the wrong hands, something that can be used as a shield to shield you can be used as a weapon. And here you see, and that has to do more with the Captain America shield, and why it's that symbol and not just any regular old shield, right? I don't know, but I guess that's just if you ask me. So we see them kind of going through here. They're dealing with the Flag Smashers. They start to round them all up. Some interesting sequences there, as we seen that Falcon had to go, the helicopter scene where they were going through there. Again, a lot of comic book tropes in here, and modern day ones. And this one right here, of course, what's the obvious thing when they're there? They don't want to kill all the people in the helicopter, so they've got to, Red Wing. Red Wing is back, right? Yay for Red Wing! Great stuff. But we see that Red Wing goes, and he runs, facial recognition, and sees who's what and who can fly this helicopter. Okay, like, come on. But then, who was it? That's right. Not only was it a woman, it was a small little Asian woman. Hey, don't say nothing. My wife's Japanese, all right? I'm just saying that it's like so modern day comic trope thing. It's like, come on. And I'm not saying that, small Asian women can't fly helicopters. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying it's, you got all the people there, and hey, it's just, again, a modern day comic book trope. But we see that, they go on this little daring rescue. There's some cool action there, seeing Sam flying with the shield and everything like that. Again, great action sequences. They save all the people. They save everybody. Yay! And then this is when they do it. They get there. They stop after they've kind of rounded everybody up. They beat everybody up. We got that scene there where John Walker saves the people out of the car, as everybody, through all the action. He sees the people, and you can see him wrestling with things. He's seen some of the stuff, and he finally, they really grounded this character back to being like finding a moral grounding here, where you could see like he was ready to go after Carly to get his revenge and all of that stuff, and then he went and saved the people, gaining back his honor to be not gaining back his honor, but to be in an attempt to be honorable again, because he knows the lies that he's told, he knows the bad things that he's done. Again, one of those things where his character, and that's one of the things that I like what they're doing here, where some of all this message kind of comes into, where he's not saying and being and doing virtuous things. He's actually just going and doing actions. Through his actions, he's doing things to try to right some of the wrongs that he's already done, because he's already lied. We already know that he's a compromised character in his his emotions. He's not emotionally stable in a lot of instances, and lets those kind of take control, much like a lot of average people do, which is kind of what they were talking about with Steve Rogers and John Walker, and what they're kind of doing, showing the moral differences there with those, and being a hero and all of those different kinds of things. Now, again, that comes in with some of the preachy stuff too, because we see that he wanted to go after Carly. Sam was trying to save Carly as well. He was trying to get her to stop what she was doing. She was on his side. She's seen Captain Patriarchy land, and she could not believe that he bought into their crap. And he tries to reason with her, talk to her like, hey man, like look, I decide for myself, and that was kind of like, again, very cool stuff here, done through what he's said and done to try to be that change, to be that difference. Again, the Sam stuff is very cool, but they have their whole altercation. She ends up dying. Captain America comes down with her and takes her to the medics, and she's a martyr now. Like, she's like, just because she has a point, she's like, I mean, seriously, is this what we're doing? Like this, we're going back to Guardians of the Galaxy here with Yondu, a child trafficker, a notorious child trafficker, known throughout the galaxy for exactly that, being trying to be validated and redeemed, and I'm supposed to feel good about this person, like this person's some sort of a good guy because they did one good deed, because they might have had one good point. Really? That's, is there really any kind of moral gray lines there that where you're going to tell me that Yondu is a good person after being notoriously a child trafficker, and then he saves, right? And Carly, she's killed people, she's done things, like, come on. There's no, right? But anyway, that's something that we can get a little bit into more here, because we see that Sam lands there, and what's he do? This is the part where they do it. Marvel Studios, they go full woke, but I gotta tell you, they do the things here, like I was saying, going back to episode 2, and just some of the stuff they did where I didn't feel that they did it in episode 1, but going into episode 2, and then just some of the other stuff that they've done here, where they've done, some of that, just some of the not even preaching kind of stuff, if you ask me, but showing the different viewpoints of people throughout the series, where like in the bank, everybody was upset, the banker's racist, they didn't get a loan because of racism, and I think the banker clearly laid out why they couldn't lend him the money. And where Sam was like, oh, okay, well, crap. The guy laid it out for me. I get it. Where his sister still felt, we've seen how she still felt like it was for that reason. Sam didn't. Where we've seen those conflicting viewpoints with Elijah Bradley or Isaiah Bradley. We've seen some of that there, especially in episode 5, where he went there to have the conversation with him. And we see that he's got the whole hold on to it thing. And Sam's like, yeah, like we got to move on. We got to, right? They did all this stuff, but at times they do these things that cheapen every single thing that they're trying to do within the series. In episode 2, it was the taking Bucky to jail instead of after giving Sam a hard time. To really make the point land there in episode 2, what they needed to do was completely, like, ridiculously let Sam and Bucky go, and the cops just all of a sudden drive off and they're gone, like nothing ever happened. Like, taking Bucky in I felt like it cheapened exactly what they were trying to do there. again, they're almost getting there. I feel like what they were doing with some of the messages, like, which I think they were doing a good job of telling at a lot of times. It's almost like watching a Broken Lizard movie, you know, where like when you watch Beer Fest. When I watched Beer Fest when it came out, I was like, oh dude, seriously, the Broken Lizard's finally coming. They're being fun. Just like they did here in this season, the season finale. You didn't stick the landing. You didn't stick the landing. You gotta stick the landing, man. And they didn't do that here. Where, you know, we see Sam, he gets down there after you know, making a martyr of somebody who's a bad person, gets down there and starts preaching to everybody. Now the thing here is, like, the speech, he brings up a lot of good points. I mean, a lot of the things he's right, but again, at this point, it got to this point where he's actually sitting there, it's being preachy. Right, is being preachy to all of these things. Now, a lot of the things he's absolutely right about, but again, I'm not here to talk about my personal politics or anything like that, how I feel about it. But again, what's going on here was the part where they finally did it. They finally went with the full preachy thing, trying to make this character seem like a good character, when this character is not a good character. Not more like there's no good in this character whatsoever. Not even compared to like Killmonger in Black Panther. This character like has no really no redeeming values whatsoever at all. And so you see that, and then he just sits there and starts preaching and everything, gives a little speech. Like I said, was he right about some stuff? Yeah, but the thing is, it's got at this point, it became preachy. They're sitting there preaching about all this stuff, telling you, you know, all the just, and it got to be much. And then you know, it's all cheapened with the way that everything ends up playing out in the first place. You know, it's just especially the way that it ends. You know, when you got Carl Lumbly as Isaiah, you know, sitting there and they're going through the thing, you know, and going through the Smithsonian and all that stuff. Like, it's just all of these different things. Like, you had it, but then like it got to the point where it got preachy, right? And that is where it went, you know, finally, you know, like, because I don't feel in the MCU at all so far they've gotten to the point where they are doing the whole preachy thing, doing the woke thing. They've got a lot of the social issues and just some of the different things and some of that stuff that they've done and put out there, just some of that, you know, I don't know, even just like the representation and stuff like that. They've done things, but they haven't actually really done this where they actually got preachy in this series here. Now, as much as they did do that, I do have to say that when it comes to the comic books, this is something that happened in the comic books. If you haven't read the comic books and you think the series is terrible, go read the comic books and you'll see how good this series is relatively compared to the comic books. But the series overall, I mean, I think has been pretty decent. But again, right here is again that point in the season where they got preachy and they didn't have to do it. Like, they cheapened what they were trying to do. Now, I do also believe that's for a reason, because exactly what happened in the comic books, which we'll get into a little bit more here at the end of the video. So please stick around. I know I'm getting a little long-winded with some of this stuff here, right? Getting a little long-winded with some of this stuff. But we see the guy. See, I've been going on about all of this. That you know, kind of forgetting about some of the stuff. How they had to go round up the last of the Flag Smashers. You see everything kind of. I mean, just really coming to a conclusion in this episode. Like, again, the pacing of the series overall, I haven't really liked. By the time we get to this point. But it's really the back half with the pacing. Aside from the disjointedness of the of all of this stuff going on, it's just I don't know. It's sloppy by the time you get here in the end. Like I said, it did not stick the landing. You know, it just didn't stick the landing. And we see that, you know, the Flag Smashers are getting rounded up. We see the you know, by the end they get killed. You know, we see Baron Zemo's butler, you know, kills all the Flag Smashers that had got rounded up that were getting ready to be taken to the raft. Now, were they all killed? Were they? I don't know. Also, you know, we see I also forgot, you know, the GSP scene with Falcon there too. Like, I don't know, it wasn't as cool as they did in the Winter Soldier movie. But like I said, altogether, there's so much more stuff that happens in this episode. But after you get to the point with the preachy stuff, it's like, you get the scenes where he goes back to talk to Isaiah Bradley too. Again, some very good stuff you could see as he's taken on and stepped into this role. Where Isaiah Bradley's character, I think, has done good. Again, like with the same preaching thing, like they just kind of cheapened it, because then you get to these scenes later where you got Isaiah Bradley there along with his son or his grandson Elijah, where they're saying there, you can see that they're not on the fence about anything. They're like, no, we're firmly planted here on F this whole thing, the American dream and all this stuff, the Captain America stuff. They're still firmly planted there, and that's one of the things. Like, look, that's where kind of people are. Like there's always going to be people that are like that, and that's okay. The thing is you can see that even Isaiah Bradley gave a little bit. He's like, okay, like cool, especially after being given some of the recognition. Again, they do some of the stuff good here, but he's sitting there, he's still planted there, and that's the thing is Sam stepped into that role again, something good to kind of bring it. Like the whole message around, like, yeah, we need to hold on to these things and remember them, but take and hold on to them in a little man purse and move forward, so we can actually really begin the process of the healing and all that. Like I said, there's just some of the stuff they did here that was like the Sam speech was just too much. And by the time we get to all of this stuff, it really kind of, to me, I feel like it cheapens a lot of that. Especially because the stuff that they had in there with some of that stuff that was so great with the, like I said, Isaiah Bradley finally, he gave a little bit. He gave, right? He gave some there. We see Bucky finally got his closure with the old man. He feels better. That one he was able to heal those wounds. He was finally able to move on. The old man was finally able to move on. So again, I feel like as cool as this was, it's really only there to show that, Bucky obviously, is healing and all that stuff, and we get it, but I don't know. I think this is again the disjointedness of the series overall. We got the little victory party, the rebels in victory, going back to Louisiana, the Wilson family boat. I mean, we got all that stuff. Again, cool stuff. I mean, you should always revel in victory after you've won, after you've had a victory. So again, just good stuff. Bad stuff about this series. Again, John Walker, by the end, we see that he finally actually got he kind of got reinstated as U.S. agent. He got that new suit, and I gotta tell you, he looks good in it. And I can't wait to see more of this character in this series. Also, we got Val de Contessa, Valentina de Contessa. You know her name. You know her name right now. Everybody's all of a sudden professionals on this character. But we see Allegra DeFontaine. We see there at the very end, he gets the suit. She's talking to him saying, hey, everything's all good. He's like, and again, this is something I talked about as well. Like, really, like everything he done, like John Walker was right in that last episode. Like, he did, like they trained him. He did everything that they told him to do. He's not a bad guy in their eyes at all for what he did. They were just upset because he made them look bad, right? That's the only reason they were mad at him. He was right. John Walker was right. He was absolved. That's why. That's not saying that he's a good character or that he's or he did anything great or anything like that. Absolutely not. But you can see he wasn't wrong in what he did for the government and all that thing and how he was treated by them. The same way with Isaiah Bradley. Again, we got more stuff in here where it's all kind of coming around, right? That dare I say that switching of the power, the people in power, they're changing of positions and stuff like that, right? And just a lot of that stuff. By the time you get to the end here, we get Sharon Carter, right? Sharon Carter, that scroll, the power broker. She gets absolved of her crimes after, like I said, it was odd. She was in Madripoor because she couldn't come back to America. Then she's back in America. She's like, oh, nobody's looking for me here. And then now all of a sudden she's being absolved of her crime. She's all good to go. Agent Carter is back, right? And, she does the phone call, she's talking about how they've got the power now and all of this stuff. Okay, where are we going with these last couple of scenes in this series? Where are we going? Okay. I want to get into some of that. I want to get into some of that. But if you haven't read the comic books of the Sam Wilson Captain America, as I was saying, it's something you should probably definitely go read. These books, while there is some very just I can't even say bad writing because it's good in the fact that it's bad because it actually like I read it like some of the stuff in there I'm just like really like come on and and it's good in that sense because it makes me feel that way and some of the stuff that goes on in this series and it's not good, but these are some of the stories that got me back into reading comic books, right? Some all these things going on because I was looking into the whole Hydra Cap thing, and then I went back and back and back, and I was going back far enough to find out everything that was going on with the Sam Wilson stuff, the Steve Rogers thing, the Hydra Cap, and all of that stuff. And seeing all that stuff. So seeing what's going on in this series and what we know of all the comic books in the past, we know we can kind of guess what's going to be what's coming out of this. Obviously, you can tell we're having a Dark Avengers being set up here. We're also having a Thunderbolts set up here as well. We've seen Zemo on the raft. Now, and I think that's where some of it comes in. The interesting thing is there is because what we were dealing with here with the power broker, you think it's Sharon, it's not. Is she a Skrull? She's not. All right, she's a deep cover agent. I don't for one second think that she's a Skrull. I don't think for one second that she's the power broker. I don't even really think for one second that she is that she's a villain. I think that she's doing some covert ops, you know, because it seems like they're working too hard for us to believe that she is a bad guy, that she's a Skrull, that she's the power broker. It seems too obvious, it seems too on the nose, so I cannot believe that. Also, what she was doing there on the phone, what she said there. We're getting the power now. We're getting into the defenses and all of that stuff. We're getting all this stuff from the government. This is the Thunderbolts. All right, this is the Thunderbolts. This is exactly what happened in the Thunderbolts, where the Thunderbolts, Zemo, the old masters of evil, his new team, they were coming in to fill in the shoes of the Avengers who had all died. They were all gone. Somebody needed to replace the Avengers. The world needed new heroes, and the Thunderbolts stepped in. Now, why did they step in? What did they want, right? What did they want? Baron Zemo wanted government secrets. He wanted passwords, passcodes. He wanted to infiltrate all Hydra, right? Hail Hydra. He wanted to do all of those different kinds of things, and that's why they did it. The Thunderbolts were trying to infiltrate those levels of government stuff to get those government secrets. But in the meantime, to do that, they were being the Thunderbolts, being looked at as good guys, so they could get those secrets, gain access to them, and that's exactly what was set up there. I mean, you see in the very end, you know, she's sitting there, she says that. Those kind of she basically lays out exactly the motivations of why Zemo was doing that in the first place in the Thunderbolts. And it pans up to the flag, which, I mean, look, you just had the flag smashers, but then you see the flag still sitting there flying high and proud. And you know that is what's coming next with Citizen V. You got all the Thunderbolts, because that was the exact motivations of the Thunderbolts and what's going on there. So is Sharon a Skrull? Is she the power broker? Is she a bad guy? I don't think so. I think she's somebody who's there, an agent, somebody who's a deep cover operative. That's what she was kind of trained to do. And she's going to be in there kind of doing those things. Is she going to be doing some shady stuff that, you know, makes her think and question her character? Absolutely. Any deep cover agent would. If you ask me. And I think that's where they're going at with this character. I don't think she's a Skrull. I don't think she's the bad guy, the power broker, or any of that stuff. Is she going to do some bad things, some villainous things to make people lead to believe, that she's the bad guy? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, Ethan Hawke smoked that crack, right? Anyway, so there's that, but then also Val there with John Walker and seeing what's going on there. Okay, I was thinking maybe John Walker might become part of the Thunderbolts, but actually, obviously this looks like we're coming to the Dark Avengers, where he's going to be. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing. I don't know. Shit, I don't know all the history of all these comic books, and hey, I'll happily admit all that to you. I know what I know. I know what I've read. Okay, okay. But I really feel like that's maybe kind of the setup going on there. And I remember somebody saying like, oh, because I was thinking maybe John would become maybe part of the Thunderbolts there, like kind of, whole anti-hero thing. But, and somebody was saying oh, like Bucky would never join with US Agent and everything. But there was a little scene there. There was that little scene when Sam was done preaching. He gave John Walker that nod. And John Walker uncomfortably gave him that nod back, that just that little slight nod back where he knows he felt bad for all the things that he had done, all the wrongs that he had done to everybody, even to Sam and Bucky. And like I said, to me, he's kind of on a character arc where he's wanting some redemption. I think he might get that in some ways, in some senses. But again, so I'm thinking there's something going to go on there with that. We got Bucky, and we still don't really know where Bucky stands in a lot of this stuff either. Just a lot of, like I said, there was some really cool stuff gone on here. Again, I really do feel this is the setup for the Dark Avengers, which again, I don't know a whole lot about, haven't really read about in the comic books. So, and I'm not going to sit here and Wikipedia knowledge that stuff for you. That's not me. If anything, I'll Wikipedia and find out where all this stuff, where it originated from, and then actually go read the comics myself. This is what I do, got trades, got comic books. It's, maybe that's why you're here watching. So yeah, at some point I'm going to go do that. I just read the Thunderbolts, and that's how I kind of definitely see the setup there with a lot of those things. So again, setup here, the series overall. The series overall. I've kind of shared my thoughts here throughout. It's not great. It's good. It's good. They finally did the whole. They finally went full woke with that, getting the whole preachy and everything. To me, a lot of the stuff that they've done in the MCU so far with putting some of those things in the media a little bit. I wouldn't say they've even done a whole lot of stuff that I would ever call out as woke or anything like that until we got here to this series where they really started to go into a lot of that. And really, I think they only kind of, and they did it by starting off with showing, I hate to use this word too, but representing the different voices and viewpoints out there, these feelings that people have with the Isaiah Bradley, with the Sam Wilson, with the Carly and the Flag Smashers, with the Zemo. You got so many different viewpoints here, which I thought they did really good at getting all of those in there. I think they really did good getting all of those viewpoints in there. But again, it still comes down to a thing where they actually got to the point where they got preachy and all of that stuff. And again, I can give them a pass on this one only because I know exactly what happened in the comic books and where all of this stuff is leading to, right? Because that scene where he actually got there, Sam Wilson got there, is like stuff that happened in the comic books. Because people out there, you're going to have the people out there, hey, even I said they went full woke. But we know the people I'm talking about, we're going to talk about, they finally went full woke, yeah! And the thing here is like, hey, they went full on woke. You never go full woke. they went on full woke. But the thing is here is, as much as I don't like it and a lot of people aren't going to like it, that's really the point. That's the point of what is going on here with this story, what happened in the comic books. Again, just because it happened in the comic books don't mean it's good, okay? And just because it happened in the comic books don't mean that it's bad neither. Again, there's some give and take there. But the thing here is this is exactly what happened in the comic books. This was meant to make you feel that way, to cause that divide, while it also brought, how it brought some people together? It also caused that divide as well because Sam Wilson came down there, got all preachy with the senators and everything. Well, here's the thing. He is the new Captain America. And you know that what's going to happen is exactly what happened in the comic books. Now, in the comic books, the whole hashtag not my Captain America thing came about because not necessarily just because Sam Wilson was a black Captain America, but at points it was because he went and he interjected at the border with some of the stuff that the Sons of the Serpent were actually doing there at the border, and the whole wall. This has to do with the one world, one people, the walls there, and the flag smashers. What even they were doing in the comic books as well. But basically, what happened was Sam Wilson got preachy, right, while trying to bring people together the best he could, while trying to live up to the mantle of Captain America. Right? He did all these things. He was trying to do the Shield proud, just like he did here in this series. He did really good stuff here in the series. But again, he got to that point where it got preachy. They went woke. But it was for a reason, because that's what happened in the comic books, and that's where this is going to go. It's meant to put the divide there, especially with the Captain America, because it's going to open up a whole other can of worms. You're going to get the hashtag not my Captain America. You're going to get the hashtag take the shield back. It's coming because of all of this stuff that Sam did right here with what he was saying with those senators and all that stuff, where he finally got preachy and they went all woke. They did that. They did that in the comic books as well. There's still plenty of other things to play out here in the comic books as well. From the comic books. Now, as I said at the beginning, all this stuff did happen in the comic books, and these are stories that kind of got me back into this as well. One of the things I like about this, I trust in Kevin Feige and what they've been doing in the MCU at Marvel Studios to take the good stuff out of the comic books and put them in a better and more digestible way on screen. And here, for the most part, with the exception of, I really do feel like with a lot of their messages, they've cheapened them with some of these things that they've done here throughout. Here we've got that Sam caused some divisiveness there. What this is going to do is exactly what it did in the comics. Is going to cause that divide where people are not going to like him. And the fact that he even said that already when he landed, he's like, I can already feel the looks, I can feel the people talking, I can feel how it feels, what people are thinking about me, a black man in this suit representing the red, white, and blue, being Captain America. He knows all that, and then he went and he gets all preachy. Like all of these things, this is exactly what happened in the comic books. We're going to get to the point where they're going to go and they're going to actually take the shield back. Sam's going to actually get to the point where he takes and he says, you know what? I don't want this damn shield. I don't want this suit. I don't want none of this. Let me get my wings back, and everything's all good. Everything he's done. He's done. Right? That's exactly what happened in the book. Sam got fed up with it all, and he eventually just gave it up anyway. Not without a fight. Not without a fight. And we've seen some of those kind of things go down here. It's not going to happen like it did in the comics, where the Council of Old Men asked, senators asked John Walker to take it back, and then Steve Rogers, who was young again, comes in and says, "Hey man, go get the shield for me, bruh." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let me get." All he had to do was ask, Cap, shoot. It's not going to go down like that here in the MCU, but I do think it's going to go down in the fact that after what Sam Wilson done in here, by what he said, by when the MCU actually went full woke here, is actually meant to cause that divisiveness and get these things, get more people talking about just that, really, for the most part. Like, they want you to react that way. They want, that's what they want. And we're going to see at some point that Sam is going to get fed up with it, and he's going to give back the shield. He's going to get tired of it. He's going to get tired of the BS. They're going to get tired of the BS. Just like so many people got tired of the BS in this series and are not liking this series overall. I'm sure that there's plenty of people not liking this series finale, not liking this series overall, and things like that. And I totally get it. I got to tell you, my overall thoughts on the series are that the series... well, it has its high points. It's got a lot of good things that it did, a lot of things that I definitely really like. It also got a lot of things that just are, by the time we get here to the end of it, it's not satisfying to me. I gotta say, WandaVision, the ending, by the time we get to the end, I felt a lot better at the end of WandaVision than I do here at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, although I like a lot of the stuff that happened here in the Falcon and Winter Soldier and a lot of the things that they did. Malcolm Spellman. Altogether, I think we get some of that stuff here throughout the series where we see what they're trying to do. Like I said, with the messages and stuff there. I think he did a good job here with a lot of this stuff here, but again, were some of that stuff maybe it got disjointed in a lot of the edits and stuff there. The messages and from the different viewpoints I thought was very cool, but again, some of this stuff just not quite there where you're trying to actually redeem a bad guy for doing one good thing, right? Like you got this person who's not, like, anybody could say that, like, they're not even morally questionable. They're a bad guy, and you're trying to redeem them for one good deed. You know, and that's just not how it is. So again, that's just where that is. Other than that, I mean, I thought a lot of it was pretty well done until you get to those certain flaws. The directing over here overall, I've said through each one of these episodes, as each one was progressing, I think the directing and everything was actually done pretty well. But by the time you get to the end of it and you look at this series overall, I haven't watched them all back to back to back yet, but by the time you get here, just seeing what we've seen, it's all jumbled, it's disjointed, it doesn't flow very well by the time we get to it. As individually as episodes for just like an actual TV show, it works. But for, I think overall, the overall narrative and everything that was going on here, I think by the time we get to the end of it, it's not as good as it was leading up here. And again, I think it was because they didn't stick the landing here. But again, all the actors and everything, they did a good job. I thought a lot of them really brought their A game. It really kind of sucks that Carly and the Flag Smashers, they had their thing really kind of ruined here. And it feels like a lot of their acting probably would have been better, and a lot of what they were doing would have landed better had none of those edits here over this last year taken place. Again, overall, the series, I think it's okay. Definitely not Marvel Studios' greatest work. Again, I don't have high expectations of it because I don't have high expectations of TV shows. I do think WandaVision was a little bit better by the time I got to the end of it, looking back at it. And this one right here, while it was good, I don't feel as good about it looking back at everything that has happened and transpired here in this series overall. But I want to know from you. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on this episode and on this series, and if there's some other stuff I forgot to talk about. I'm sure I did forget to talk about a lot here, as there's just like a lot of things that kind of happen here in this episode, just like kind of my thoughts thinking about everything. And I didn't take notes this time. But let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. You all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.